So I was asked to react to a fellow by the name of Chris Castro. I don't know this name. I've never heard of him before. I've already been through this video. It's the same garbage that we see from trainer to trainer to trainer. And I'm going to explain to you what's right and what's wrong in his video. And we're going to try to get through some of the science of what he's doing. Let's have a listen. Okay, so first of all, if I were meeting this dog, the owner wouldn't be there. All of this is happening because the owner has the leash in her hand. Okay, I'm going to want to meet the dog one-on-one in the backyard. The owner can stay in the window. They can record through the window. They can watch through the window, do whatever have you. Stay in the house. So now we got the dog in a muzzle and the dog's on the leash. Now understand, part of your positive reinforcement, look, positive reinforcement does not have a tree. Part of your positive reinforcement is your fight and flight responses. It's your desire to stay alive. And in order to stay alive, you fight and flight. You can either show aggression or you can run away. What we're doing with right now with this dog is preemptively punishing the dog by taking away the dog's positive reinforcement, and that's the worst punishment you can do. The dog can't defend itself with the mouth, and the dog can't run away. You're taking away the ability to fight and flight because the trainer is scared. The trainer doesn't want to get bit. And this dog is truly scared. He's clearly scared. You see the ears? You see where the tail is? Look at the tail. Where's the tail? It's right up between the legs. Look at the ears. This whole dog body language is all about fear. But he's going to address the behaviors as a result of fear. All of these behaviors are because the dog is afraid. But he's going to focus on punishing the dog to shut down behaviors, to remove behaviors from her repertoire, instead of addressing the underlying cause, which is the fear. Why is the dog afraid? And how do you get the dog over the fear? What we're watching is behaviors as an outcome of fear. Once you deal with fear, the behavioral outcomes as a result of fear disappear on their own. This is called extinction. But yet people don't seem to realize this. We're going to punish the shit out of the dog, and we're going to control and manage this dog. I can guarantee it. You see how he keeps looking back at the owner? He's doing this because the owner is there. Okay? That's the only reason why this shit is going on. You see this dog in the backyard, and I guarantee you he'd be running away from you. We put on a better muzzle. Yeah, we're going to make sure that the trainer doesn't get bit because he's scared. Okay? The dog is a negative reinforcement to the trainer. The trainer is a negative reinforcement to the dog. Now, the dog's positive reinforcement has been taken away. The trainer's positive reinforcement hasn't been. So one of them is going to lose and one of them is going to win because they're going to butt heads. And the trainer is going to win. You see the tail? The dog is terrified. The dog is scared. But nobody seems to be addressing that fear. Why is the dog scared? And why is the dog having behavioral outcomes of fear? Once you address the fear, get the dog over the fear, then again, the behavioral outcomes as a result of fear go away.
Go ahead and tug on it a bit, kind of try.
But he's going to turn around and punish the behaviors, try to remove the behaviors from a repertoire, but the fear is always there. The fear is always there. Understand that the fear doesn't go away. If the dog is still afraid and you're suppressing the behaviors as a result of fear, the behaviors get worse. Why? Because you don't address the fear.
Try to slip it off.
And he's getting the owner to put the muzzle on the dog. That dog is tied to the vehicle by the look of it.
Not too crazy like, but just safety.
And that's another common thing. You got a trainer, oh, put this on your dog for me. Put the muzzle on, put the e-collar on, put the prong on for me so I can get control of the dog. They're scared.
Check.
The dog is frustrated by the muzzle. That's another condition you're adding on to everything. The dog doesn't want the muzzle on.
Like grab the basket and then kind of pull his head upwards. Yeah. All right.
So you're going to force the dog to accept a different kind of muzzle that it's never experienced before, and you're going to frustrate the dog even more.
Up a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. Better safe than sorry, you know.
Well, I told you. I warned you.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah, better safe than sorry. Dog trainers don't want to get bit. That's part of your job, buddy.
He's very
Uh-huh.
better.
Okay. I think so. So I'll step in a bit. Probably get punched.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm. He said one of his legs was a bit,
The right hind leg was soft tissue tear.
Okay, so he's got a soft tissue injury, so he's probably in pain, which is driving some of the behaviors too.
Where?
Right here.
This dog is just a basket case. Listen to his breathing. This dog doesn't know what's going on. So right now, all the dog's positive reinforcement has been taken away. And the dog, everything around the dog right now is just negative reinforcement. And what does negative reinforcement do? Generates behaviors to fight and flight. So all of this negative reinforcement is going to make things worse.
Okay. And even this is kind of like wearing him down, so, it's part of it.
This is not the way to wear down a Malinois. Here's the problem. A lot of these trainers, or most of these trainers, are focused on the dog. They're focused on the behavior. They're not focused on what the breed needs. This is a Belgian Malinois, also known as a Belgian Shepherd. These dogs exist for the reason to chase. They're herding dogs. But yet these dogs never get to herd. So eventually the dog's going to get frustrated, and everything that moves becomes a target to chase. And at some point, when the frustration kicks in, they're going to try to kill those things. They're going to try to destroy them. They're going to start showing aggression because of frustration. But now trainers call this bullshit trade drive. What this dog needs, I guarantee you, if you turn around, you go out and buy yourself a nice, rugged, remote-control car, okay, and you get this dog chasing till there's nothing left, you get that dog out on a chase of a remote-control car or even a drone, until there's nothing left, you got a tired dog that's satisfied. Then take that tired and satisfied dog for a walk and tell me how many behavior problems you got. But funny how they never address the breed's needs, right? Look at the tail. Look at the panting. Look at the body language. The dog is scared. The dog has no idea what's going on. The dog has no control whatsoever. But yet when I walk into a backyard, the dog is in full control. The dog has full positive reinforcement. Look at the eyes. Look at the face. Now that the owners come into a certain distance, what's going to happen? There you go. Negative reinforcement generates behaviors. And the trainer is a negative reinforcement. That's what he doesn't understand. He's generating the behaviors. If the owner wasn't there, this wouldn't be happening. If the trainer wasn't there, this wouldn't be happening. It's only because of the human beings that are there that all these behaviors are happening. And this is all called bravado and bullshit. Of course the dog's going to try to bite. That muzzle is frustrating the shit out of him. You can see it.
Good muzzle.
And he's laughing. This dog is a mental basket case. This dog is a nervous wreck and he's laughing about it. This is all tormenting the dog. This is negative reinforcement tormenting the dog. That's all it is. Anything that moves with this dog is now a negative reinforcement, something to chase. Because the dog is so frustrated, the dog is scared on top of that. That dog's not thinking properly.
I did. So the way, what you're going to be looking at realistically is he's going to have that in him for a good long while, maybe years, before it really, really goes away.
What was that?
I did. So the way, what you're going to be looking at realistically is he's going to have that in him
He's going to have that in
for a
him
good long while,
for a good long while,
maybe years,
many years.
before it really, really goes away. But you're going to be able to manage it like this.
Oh yeah, control and manage it. So he sounds like Taylor Bukowski. Okay? The thing of it is, aggression is the outcome of a problem. What is this dog's problem? Fear. Frustration. No exercise. Not enough exercise. The dog needs to express their genetics. Okay? So instead of addressing all the stuff that the dog actually needs, we're going to focus on control and management to keep the dog in control and management for 2 or 3 years. And I'll tell you one thing right now, more and more commonly I'm hearing trainers saying point blank, I'm not selling results, I'm selling my time, and that's exactly what this guy's doing. It could take years to get a dog over aggression. The problem is, once you address the fear, the aggression, as a result of fear, disappears on its own. But he's only going to focus on controlling and managing, shutting down behaviors, removing behaviors from the repertoire instead of dealing with the fear. He's not actually focusing on the cause. He doesn't give a shit about the cause. He's working for money.
Not holding on for dear life. You know, with the word. I brought the e-collar out, but I'm not using it.
He brought an e-collar. Of course he did.
Right? And so that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's not just going to happen by itself. You know, I don't just go let her playing with any dog in the dog park. Okay, so you're not going to just let anybody just come and meet him, or let him go, go amongst people at a party and just start, greeting people.
So he's going to layer on the fear. You got to be careful. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. He's going to layer on the fear to make the owner afraid, and the dog's going to end up in more and more control and management, which is going to cause more and more frustration, and the dog still doesn't get out and chase anything. So what are we doing here? What are you actually fixing here? Somebody please explain this to me. What is he actually doing?
Probably not going to happen for a few years.
Probably not going to happen for a few years. So he's going to be the trainer for the next few years, milking the shit out of these owners, working backwards to make sure he gets paid. Again, he's selling his time, not results.
But you can hope for this. You keep him out of trouble.
You can hope for this. That's a big one right there. That's a big frickin' whopper. You can hope for this. A dog on a leash that's not allowed to chase anything, that's not allowed to do shit, is under heavy control of management. That's the best you can hope for with a Malinois. That's self-defeating the owner right out of the gate.
And you're in control of the leash.
You're in control of the leash, you're in control of the dog, control of management, control the behaviors instead of understanding behaviors. Work on the fear. Why is the dog afraid?
That's all I want.
That's the reality
I just want,
You see, you hear the owner, that's all I want. She just set the bar so low, it's not fit. I always ask dog owners, what do you really want from your dog? It doesn't matter what I want. It doesn't matter what I'm capable of. What do you want? You're paying me to do a job. What do you want? What can I help you with? Most dog owners simply want a calm dog they can take anywhere. They don't give a shit if the dog can sit. They don't give a shit if the dog can roll over and play dead on command. They just want a calm dog. But he's not focused on calm. What is it going to take to calm this dog down? You focus on the breed's needs, you get him out chasing, you get him out doing things that the breed is supposed to do, okay? You focus on the fear, then you'll have a calm dog. Guess what? Once you start doing that, once you develop that relationship, instead of being a bloody transactional relationship, reward and punishment, once you develop that solid relationship, all your problems disappear. And you'll never need to hire a trainer again once you understand that. Oh, so now we're going to start using the e-collar. We're going to start shocking a scared dog. Look at the ears. Look at the tail.
And this could be that fit that I was talking about, because you've taken your attention away. He's trying to get it. He's trying to get to you. You're the reward. So he can't.
He's trying to get to the owner, yes. That's why the owner shouldn't be there in the first place. Okay? You want the dog to focus on you. When I go into a backyard, I want the dog to get it out of your system, calm down, come say hello. The dog needs to choose to come to me. It's not me putting a leash on the dog or a muzzle or a prong or anything else like that on a freaking dog. The dog is in control when I go in the backyard. I'm dealing with a scared dog. 99% of cases are scared dogs. I don't think he ever once said that his dog is scared, even though the body language is screaming it. He doesn't care.
Have that reward anymore until he calms down.
So the dog can't have the reward of the human being until he calms down. Make that make sense. So assume, I don't want to go too high where it's like he's afraid to do that. I want him to be able to do what he wants, but he got to decide not to do it. So you're actually shocking the dog. Now we got a scared dog. You're actually going to start shocking that dog to try to shut down behaviors. Yeah, you're calm, you're just standing there, but you're not doing shit other than not punishing the dog. It's just all pure punishment. And Skinner himself would tell you that punishment doesn't work. It's not effective.
So I don't.
Look at the dog. He doesn't know what to do. He's in a muzzle. He's on a leash. He can't run away. He can't fight. His positive reinforcement's been taken away, and now he's just standing there stubbornly doing nothing.
I don't want to go too high to where like he's afraid to do that. I want him to be able to do it if he wants, but he's got to decide not to.
Why is the dog doing it in the first place? Why is the dog doing this in the first place? If you don't understand the cause of why the dog is doing this in the first place, shocking the dog ain't gonna do shit.
And don't think my heart rate doesn't go up every time he bumps me.
Yeah, don't think my heart rate doesn't go up. He's scared. His cortisol levels are going up. The dog smells the cortisol levels. Adrenaline levels. He stinks of fear to the dog, and he wonders why the dog is going after him.
It does, but I'm not going to try to stop him because he probably won't listen.
He probably won't listen.
Is Piggy in his kennel?
Mm-hmm.
Take him to the backyard.
What is all this accomplishing?
But anything else, I don't really care. I'm not demanding him to heel or sit or down or anything like that.
Well, there is that. That's a bonus. But you're still shocking the dog.
And focus on two things that that will make this start. Either one, pulling my leash, or two, he starts muzzle bumping me. Then that'll turn this on.
Okay, so if he pulls on the leash or he starts muzzle bumping, he's going to get shocked. What purpose does that serve? What function is that serving?
And then what's more important than that is for him to learn that by stopping, it turns off.
There you go. That's exactly what was going on in the Skinner box. Okay? Negative reinforcements generate behavior. So what Skinner was doing in the Skinner box, he would actually shock the dog until the dog figured out what he wanted. Then at that point, you know what, in the one particular experiment, the dog lifted the front leg. That's what Skinner wanted, so we turned the power off. That's what he called positive reinforcement, the removal of negative reinforcement. But yet we're not removing negative reinforcement here. The trainer is still a negative reinforcement. The shock collar is still a negative reinforcement. Stop and think about that. Look at the dog looking around. The dog is still scared. He hasn't done shit to address the fear. He's just hitting the e-collar. The dog is still afraid.
Do it.
Put that e-collar on your neck, and I'm going to correct you for what I feel is bad behavior. You're going to learn and understand why that e-collar works. But yet, when it comes off, guess what? All bets are off. There's always a threat of punishment. That e-collar right now is a threat of punishment. That's the only reason why punishment works. There has to be a constant threat of punishment.
Which button activates which collar?
So he's got an e-collar on every dog. But yet he's all proud of himself. He's got them all under control. He still hasn't addressed the cause of all the behaviors. There's a few major causes that we discussed. He hasn't addressed one of them.
It takes me a minute to figure that out sometimes. Got the Malinois here.
This is what you call a machine trainer. If this guy didn't have any tools, he couldn't train a dog to save his life. That's the reality. None of them could. You take away any trainer's tools, they're screwed. They couldn't train a dog to save their life. There is no training going on here whatsoever, but yet they're calling themselves dog training. Okay? This is all about control and management. And control and management is not training. Control and management has two possible outcomes. Okay? The biggest one is euthanasia.
The other dog's here. The dogs I like is the top button. The dogs I don't like is the bottom button.
It's all a joke to him. This is all a fucking joke to him. You know? Each dog got their own button. What are you playing, musical buttons? Every time a dog acts up, you're going to be hitting the... what if you hit the wrong button? What if you hit the wrong dog? Would that wipe the smile off your face?
Just kidding.
Just kidding, yeah. You see, B.F. Skinner would call all this consciousness atrophied because dog trainers expect the dog to focus purely on them. Forget about the environment. Consciousness is the overall environment. The dog doesn't care about the overall environment right now. They're focused on the frickin' trainer because they're scared to get shocked. Look at the dog's ears. He's scared. The dog on the far left, that's the client dog. And I dare say right now that the dog is scared to go on the attack. He's scared to do anything right now. So he's going stubbornly doing nothing. And I'm going to explain that to you. I'm going to show you that to you in Skinner's book. You call this a pass? You call it a success? I don't call it a success. I call this a dog under control and management. Okay? And control and management is not training. Once again, if you need a freaking tool to train your dog, you're not training shit. All you're doing is controlling and managing the dog. But yet people call that training, and people call it success. And again, you turn around and you set that bar so low for the dog owner, it's not fit. Have a good day.